Welcome to a special Pride Wives of Dallas roundtable conversation.
If you think you know a thing about me, you might be wasting your time. Cause why you sitting here worried about me? I'm just worried about mine. We can agree to disagree and move on with our lives. You can do you, but I'ma do me. Cause I live my life with pride. Here it comes to interception, getting in the way of your perception. As much as I would love to leave this shit alone, I didn't build these issues on my own. So now it's time to make the world my throne and rain down till the hate is gone. So why stand up? This is your anthem. It's time to change the world. Anthem. If you think you know a thing about me.
Welcome to the Pride Wives of Dallas special roundtable edition. The roundtable was envisioned to allow cast and friends and family members to talk about their coming out stories.
Yeah, do you remember the day you came out? It could be the good, the bad, or the ugly.
Absolutely. So we hope that this will shed some light for some of you and that some of you will be able to take away something from our stories.
And if you have any need for counseling or to speak to somebody that can pretty much speak your language and understand what you're trying to say, there is a LGBTQ national hotline number. It's 1-888-843-4564.
And if you or someone you know is having suicide, thoughts of suicide, or at risk of suicide, please call the LGBTQ suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255. We hope you enjoyed this edition.
Some will laugh and some will even cry. Stay tuned.
So I basically tells my mom, I said, hey, I need to tell you something. And so she says, what's going on? She said, let's talk. And so, my mom loves to crochet and, so she's sitting up there and she's crocheting and knitting. And at this time, I think mom was she was going through, because she had breast cancer at the time. And y'all be praying for her because she's, I'm not going to cry, but this is her second bout of cancer that she's going through now. So what ends up happening was she's sitting down and she's knitting, and as we're talking, crocheting, and we're talking, and I told her, I said, well, Mom, I've always felt this way, and this is what it is, and blah, blah. My mom puts down her crocheting stuff, and she looks at me, and she says, boy, she said, you will die and burn in hell for eternity. So I'm looking like, you're my mama.
Wow.
Like, I expected that from my dad, but you're my mom. Like, I'm like, like, when I tell you me and my mom was like this, and, we have our times where drag down, knock out, like, girl, don't call me no more. I don't know who you are. Leave me the hell alone, type stuff like that. But who don't? But also in the same situation where, here it is, my mom. Like, I'm like, seriously. So, it gets to the point where I was like, okay, you know what? I don't have nothing else to say to you at this point. So you have a good one and goodbye. And for 3 whole months, I didn't talk to my mom, man. So when I started talking to her again, my third oldest brother, he calls me and he says, I talked to your mama. And I said, you talked to her? He was like, yeah. He said, I told her, at the end of the day, no matter what, that's your son. You're supposed to love him. You ain't got to like what he's doing, but that's your child. So I'm like, and I'm like, it's my brother sticking up for me, like, feel like the little brother again. So still, we went through that for a good minute. And it was after my brother had ended up passing away. After he passed, and that was hard on our family. And my mom comes to me and she said, baby, I love you. No matter what, I love you. And I was like, yes, ma'am. So we don't talk about it, but also in the same sense, she knows it, and I feel like she accepts it a little bit more now so than anything. You know, and it's so crazy because people ask me all the time, well, how does your kids feel about it?
Yeah,
You know,
I
knowing
was
that you're
gonna ask
gay.
you that.
And I'm like, I said, they feel fine. They was like, are you for real? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they will fight for me. I'm like, that's my children. I'm like, I love them. I was like, I don't have nothing to hide from them. I said, that's my babies, you know. And, you know, people be like, well, this one lady I'll never forget, and she comes into the salon because, you know, I do hair. And she was a minister. And as she's sitting up there and she's talking to me and stuff, and we was just talking or whatever, and we started talking about God. And so as she's talking, I guess in one sense she was trying to minister to me and trying to tell me whatever, but I'm coming back at her, but it was nothing judgmental from coming from me or bashing her for being the way that she was. But so she just looks at me and she says, I don't understand you. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I just don't understand how you're gay, but then you just speak about Jesus. You love God. I mean, you speak so profound, and you just. She said, I just don't understand it. And I just basically looked at her and I told her, I said, well, I said, one thing about the whole situation between you and I. And she was like, what's that? I said, your sin is your sin. My sin is my sin. And I was like, but God still loves us all. And so she was like, well, she said something crazy. And I'm looking at her like, you're a minister. And yes, you love men, or you love this particular man, but you sleep with him, you know, without being married to him. Y'all live together. So I'm trying to understand, what are you doing that's supposed to be so much better than what I'm doing?
Right.
You know, I'm like, the Bible says sin is sin, period. You know, and I'm like, I don't understand. So I'm like, I feel like this. If I'm going to hell because I'm gay, we're all going to hell together because you are who you are. So, you know, and it's just so crazy. Again, you know, listening to everybody's backgrounds, you know, and just seeing where everybody comes from and the stuff that we put up with growing up as children, and not just children, even as adults, because you still run into that occasional. And now the thing about when I was a kid, I didn't say much. But now I'm an adult, please come. Please come. I'm knocking at your door. You feel like messing with me today. Please bring it. Please bring it. I don't say much, but oh, it's certain things you just don't know. You know, please, right. Don't.
Exactly.
Even the other day, I was walking down the street and I heard this girl. As I happened to look up, and she looks at me in my face. You know, not a girl, but she's an older lady, and she looks at me in my face. And so I looked at her. She didn't speak. I didn't speak, and get to walk. And I hear her says, I'm like, no, she said, I'm sorry. She was like, I'm like, and we all know what that means. And I'm looking like, girl, you better be glad I'm on the way because going somewhere because we about to have a moment. So, but I left it alone. And, you know, but again, you know, it's just so crazy the stuff that we've dealt with. But also in the same sense, you know, I can truly thank God that I went the way that I went and seen certain things that I saw because it made me into who I am. It helped to make me. It helped to mold me, you know. And again, you know, me and my mom, we have our times where we have our knockout fights or not physically because, again, my mama from Lower Ninth Ward, she'd beat all the black out for me. But still, we have our moments, and you know, and no matter what, that's mama, and I love her. I just love her, so you know. So it is what it is.
I just say the way we live on the outside ain't the way we live on the inside.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Just because the way I live out here don't mean that I can't serve my God from
exactly.
You know, it's my praise that counts.
Right.
It ain't what I do in my bed; it's the praise that I give to Him every day that keep me going. So don't judge me for my cover until you read my pages.
Exactly. Exactly.
Funny when she said judge.
Yeah.
Because I used to do that. Right. You don't know this, but at Innovative, I would tell you. Remember when I would say, you go to church And I would try to minister to you.
I was used to it.
And I would be like, okay, the gay girl got to lead again. I got to go there and verify it.
I'm the gay girl.
That was the gay girl. Not knowing 20 years later I'll be sitting right here next to her.
That's right.
Wow.
And now I'm the gay girl too.
That's deep.
That's deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could have been inspiring.
That's deep. Now that's deep.
Yeah.
That's real deep.
And I never forgot you. I never forgot you.
That's real deep.
And I would think back and I was like, I used to walk around with the Bible in my hand. I was Kojic. I didn't wear pants all the time. I didn't wear makeup. And now my whole room is full of makeup. I don't even wear dresses anymore. But I remember going around that call center, sleeping with the men. I probably slept with all of them.
Wow.
But I was telling her she was wrong for what she was doing. Me and my brother had a fight. I lost him. He died in the penitentiary. I never got a chance to say I'm sorry to him. And to this day, 20 years later, I battle with that. 5 suicide attempts, and I got the war wounds right here to show it. When I was 21, I had a 1-year-old. I was engaged to a preacher. I was about to be a first lady. And I would be in church, and I knew the role. Sit there, rock with the hand up. Come
on to me. Come on to me. Come on to me.
But down deep inside, I couldn't wait for the shouting so I could see the woman's titties jump up and down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
real.
That's when it started.
Well.
And I'm like, what is this feeling that I'm feeling down here? When they do that, why am I feeling that down there? Why is that jumping when they do that? Why is it not doing it when the men do it?
Right.
Yeah.
I said, the man had to go. He had to go. I was like, no more hot dogs for me. No more hot dogs for me.
No more.
That sounds like a first lady hot dog.
It sure
Yes. No more hot dogs for me.
I'm still stuck on you at church and watching titties.
When
It
that
got hot down here.
I did. I was like,
And it's sad.
what's that 5
It
heartbeats,
said it
the girl
happened.
in the front?
Oh, yes,
Oh my gosh, I was like, oh, I know exactly what she feeling. And it's like, wow, I can't believe that I don't know, it's like, my dad is 91 years old.
Oh, that's a blessing.
It is. It's a big blessing. But I had to tell this man that I like girls. He didn't like it. He disowned me. I moved out for about 3 months. The preacher man, I call him the preacher man, because he was a bootleg preacher anyway. We had an argument, pressed charges on me. I went to jail. It was horrible. The church didn't even back me. And I was on my own for a minute. And then my daddy was like, okay, you can come back, but promise me you won't be no faggot.
Oh,
What's
wow.
a faggot? That's the thing. So I had to pretend. I just pretend for a long time. And I told my son first. He was 6. I was like, Mommy don't like boys. Mommy likes girls. And he was like, it's okay. I like everybody too.
Aw.
You know, and so...
That sound like him
So,
today.
yeah. Now he's 24. And so I was at Sprint at the time, and it was this girl, and I was like, I need to minister to her, because I was still, she was a stud. I was like, she looked like that girl. I need to minister to her. She ended up ministering to me in a different way. So that's my story from me coming out. I was 26 years old, and I've been gay ever since, but now I have another issue because now it's like my husband is trans, and I'm like, my identity. Am I a lesbian?
So you
Am
going
I
back to the hot dog?
queer? Well, no.
No.
Soft dog? Cold dog.
The hot dogs cost about $25,000.
Oh, I heard that.
So still a taco.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh my God.
I like tacos. Yeah.
I'm a little slow, but I
understood exactly what she was saying.
Yeah.
I'm like,
was like, what does she mean? I like tacos. I'm like, okay, well.
it's okay, Lucille. It's okay. It's all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, all right.
It all makes sense
I
now.
just-
From the beginning. Okay, I get it now.
Okay, so
That's
it's
how-
like the
yeah.
panel, like
That's
everybody,
how,
like sneakity.
Yeah.
We got it.
Okay.
So that's how I explain it to make it fun.
Got it.
But yes, I'm married to a trans guy, and yeah, it was different. So even though I'm attracted to the masculinity, underneath is what I have, and so sometimes it's kind of weird, but and then I hope that the hot dog process doesn't happen, but yeah, but my dad does not know. He walked me down the aisle to a guy.
Oh,
He
your dad
doesn't
doesn't
know.
know that
He
your
doesn't
husband.
know.
Okay.
He doesn't know.
Oh, Pawpaw.
Yeah, Pawpaw. It was kind of weird. We would go on vacations and stuff, and Amir would wait to use the restroom, and he's like, I'm going to let your dad go first, and then I'm going to go after. Because then you can't do, you would figure it out.
Right.
Because he has to sit.
Right.
My daddy has to stand up.
Right.
So, my dad has a 12-year-old now.
At 91.
91.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah.
Her
He's
dad
healthy,
is a
honey.
real spunky.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he is seriously. When you think 91, her dad literally is like 61.
60 something.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
He's like a 61, 65 year old. Like,
You don't want him to be your
so-
sugar daddy because you're going to get pregnant.
Right.
Yeah.
Several times.
Right.
Several times.
Seriously, don't think.
Mhm.
Right.
And so my dad is he's okay with everything. I mean, he doesn't know. But now I have another story to tell him because I think now my brother is gay.
Oh.
Mm.
Did he come out to you, or is this just something that you just
He doesn't know. His big sister follows him on Instagram.
Oh.
So yeah, so
Interesting.
it's running a family because I have a sister who's like 71, and he said I disowned her because she was gay. So I'm like, Daddy, it's your fault then if you
All your kids got
producing these
something you
genes.
doing.
Right.
It's something you doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say I'm sorry for trying to stop you from being who you're supposed to be.
You weren't going to stop me.
I know.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do. But I learned to live that. I thought everybody felt that way about me, and they did.
Yeah.
I'm the gay girl, so I had to. If I stay like they wanted me to stay, then half of it, the people I know wouldn't have never came out. Thinking.
Right, you open the door for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we still hear that. When we go out of the country, like when we went to Jamaica, that's like our favorite place.
We
like,
go back and
absolute
back and back.
favorite. When we go there, they call her bad boy,
Bad girl.
bad girl.
But
You're
they
the
say bad girl, bad
You're
girl.
bad girl.
That means
So they
gay.
Still,
Even the
like,
men are bad girls.
yeah.
Bad girls.
They
Are you a
still-
bad girl?
everywhere we go,
I say,
they
yeah, I'm
are
bad in the
still
motherfucker, man.
I mean,
just
and we're
don't
grown,
bring your
you know what I
kids.
mean? At our, even at
Your
our
mama,
age now, we
everybody
still
gonna- bad
experience, the
influence.
stares, the glares,
Yeah.
and they'll try to play it
Are
off.
you
and
gay?
You see I'm pointing, and the kids will look, and we have grandkids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they just know me as Nana, and this is Graham, and so, and I have two, kids. My kids are grown. My son is also gay. He has a partner he's been with for like 12 years.
Wow.
My daughter, she's not over the moon about her mother being gay, but she's never, ever experienced me being with anyone other than a woman. since my daughter was like 5. I've always been with women. So it would be weird for them to see me with a man. So,
Yeah. Well.
If you think you know a thing about me, you might be wasting your time. Cause why you sitting here worried about me? I'm just worried about mine. We can agree to disagree and move on with our lives. You can do you, but I'ma do me, cause I live my life with pride. Here it comes the interception, getting in the way of your perception. As much as I would love to leave this shit alone, I didn't build these issues on my own. So now it's time to...
Well, hello. I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade, and me and my mom have a thing where we like to watch Lifetime. And there was a Lifetime movie, and it sticks with me to this day. It was The Truth About Jane, and it was about a lesbian. She was a teenager. And the whole movie, all I did was cry, and I would cry, and I would cry. And I remember my mom grabbed my hand, and she said, "It doesn't matter what you are." And I'm confused. I'm like, why is she doing this? You know, like, what?
You're crying?
She was like, I love you, whether you're purple, blue, married to an alien. Don't let anybody tell you that something is wrong with you. And like earlier, like that summer I was in Chicago, and I would sneak on my cousin's computer, my big cousin's computer, and I was on the Yahoo chat. I don't know if you guys ever done that. And I was in the lesbian chat,
that was the thing.
and I was lying, and I was saying I was older, and I wanted to know like what it was. And so when I seen that movie, it kind of just hit, because I'm like, oh my God, like, does she know? And fast forward a few years later to my freshman year, I started dating a woman, and I was with her almost 10 years. They don't like me talking about her. But I was with her almost 10 years. And my mom actually walked in on us doing something. It was so embarrassing. And my ex ran to the restroom, and I ran upstairs, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, she's going to kill me. Like, she's going to kill us. My brother and sister walked in. I was so embarrassed. But she took me upstairs, and she gave me the same conversation. She was like, it doesn't matter what you are, who you're with, I still love you. But it was when my grandmother came that my mom like flipped on me. Before she would defend me, but then now that my grandmother is saying something to her about it, now I'm wrong. Don't do that. You don't need to be gay. Get a boyfriend. And it really confused me, because at first I thought I was okay, and now you're telling me I'm not okay. So I ended up leaving when I was like 14 and living with my ex's family. And like Tracy said, that her mom would call her my roommate. Oh, that's my roommate. That's my other daughter. And, they're roommates. And I'm like, oh, my God. No, we're fucking together. What are you talking about? But, it took a while. And when I got with Danielle, me and my mom's relationship was kind of bad and off. And, my father passed away. Her mother passed away. So in a sense, like, I would push her to go to her father and make amends and like have a relationship, because I wish I could have one with mine. And she would push me to my mom. And so now, like, my mom's, remember when I was with her, she was so mean to Danielle. Like, she would not look at her. She did not make eye contact with her. It was awful.
It was bad.
Like, I felt so bad.
Yeah.
Like, Danielle was just like, oh my God, like, she hates me. And it's like, it's not you. It was my ex and my past situations that my mom really didn't like the person I was with at the time. And I remember, like, maybe a year later after I had been with Danielle, my mom sends me a message, and she said, Danielle, you and Danielle look really good together, and I could tell she really makes you happy. And I'm happy that you're happy and that you found somebody who loves you, genuinely loves you for you. Wow. And like, since then, help, my mom texts and calls her more than me. I'm like,
she ended up apologizing. She came to me and apologized because, I have all these tats. And when I first met her, I had my tats showing, but I think she thought that I was like her ex, and her ex was abusive and just really, really bad, person. So, I had to just let her see who I was for myself, you know. And I think the more she got to know me and talk to me and stuff, she realized, you know, like, I'm not that type of person. I actually care about her. I want a good future. I want her to have a good relationship with her mom. And from there, now it's like, you can't keep us apart. Like, I love her mom. Like, she's a good person. And I know at the end of the day, she was just protecting her, you know.
Yeah.
That's all she was doing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love my mom crazy and all. And like with Chester and the niece and nephews, like my brother was married to a woman, and they're not together anymore, praise God. But she was very, I'm so close to my niece and nephews. Like, those are my babies. Like, if I gave birth to them, don't you dare do anything to them, you know. But I would started to get some like pushback from her, and I was like, why is she acting like this? Like, does she think I'm gonna do something to them? Like, I couldn't sleep in the bed with my niece and nephews. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, where is your mind, or your mentality that you think I would, just because I'm a lesbian, you know? So when they ended up separating, my brother and I, you know, we got closer, and I would keep my nieces and nephews. But I remember one time we were walking, and my nephew was like, hey, Titi Angie? And I was like, yes. And he was like, how come you and Danny have Titi Danny? They call her Aunt too. Titi is aunt in Spanish. She was like, why do you and Titi Danny have one room in the same bed? And I'm like, oh, Lord. I was like, your parents need to talk to you about this. I'm like, why are you asking me this? Who told you that? He was like, well, my mom was talking to me. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And I was like, well, you know, Titi Angie's a little different. You know, I love Titi Danielle. And he kind of like got the hint and shut the conversation down. He was like, well, you know what? I don't care what anybody says. You know, you're my Titi. I love you, and I love Titi Danielle. Like, you know, I just want you to be happy. And I was just like a 5-6-year-old, and I'm just like, I was frozen. Like, we were leaving the pool, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, what just happened? You know, like, my nieces and nephews love her. Like, I think they like her more than me sometimes.
They do.
You know,
They do.
not my niece. She
They
loves me
do.
more. But, you know, I couldn't imagine, like, not being able to do that. And I don't understand where people get that perspective that just because you're a lesbian, trans, gay, you know, whatever you identify as, that you would do something to harm a child. Or, you know, there might be people like that out there, but that's not everyone, you know.
Right.
And family is family. And if you want to show that love to your niece or nephews and take them out, you should be able to do that without them judging, because a child is going to love you regardless. A child is innocent. They don't get tainted unless someone else puts that in their mind. You know, my nephew, he was put something in his mind, and what he ended up doing was turning it around and saying, well, I don't care what they say. He was like, I love you, you know, and that just taught me that, you know, it's how you're raised and how you're taught. You're not, you don't grow up, you know, you're not born with hate inside of you. It has to be taught to you. You have to see it for yourself. You know, you love, a child is forgiving. They can fall, you can accidentally trip them, and they still get up and hug you and stuff. You know, it's like that hate and everything, that's something that's taught. So my message is like, if you have children or something like that, don't teach them that hate. You have to teach them that everyone is different. There's people with disabilities, people that love men, people that love women. It doesn't matter, you know, but if they love each other, that should be all that matters. And I don't understand.
It's still a form of bullying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I did, you know, kids for me would probably be the only thing that kind of broke me down when I was coming up, because kids will ask you anything. Is you a boy or is you a girl? Is you a boy? First of all, your parents need to teach you how to talk.
Right.
So is you a boy or is you a girl ain't gonna work out. You look like a boy. You know, and then I'd have to figure out, because at that point everybody in the room is looking like, well, is you a boy? You know, and then and another thing that would always, and it still does today, when you're a stud, you look gay to people.
Yes.
Kind of like she said.
Yes, that's hard.
People don't really get it as what it is. They have labeled you a freak now. You're a freak. So do I want you around my kids? No, because I don't even understand what you are. Right. So why would I want you around my kids? That has always upset me, because the way I look has nothing to do with my sexuality.
Right.
I'm gay, so I don't want your kid. Where your mama at? You know, I asked a kid, if your mama fine back then, you know, well, where your mama at? You know, if you saw me talking to your kid, I was trying to find out where you was at.
Right.
You know, I never want kids, and that really has always offended me, that you think gay people are molesters or they want children, and it's never that those two things never connect. You know, you can't judge a book by its cover. You know, I don't like kids, and that was a hard part for me, being judged like that, and kids, you know, putting you on the spot. You know, well, you look like a boy, and everybody in the room is like, you know, that was a problem.
Well, that's how my grandkids are. I have grandkids, and my grandkids are 9. My oldest grandson and my oldest granddaughter, 9 and 4. They literally had a conversation. My best friend is a trans. She and does shows and everything. And sometimes I say Uncle Bo, or sometimes I might say Uncle Chris. Now, they've seen Uncle Bo do shows, and they've seen Uncle Chris go to CC's with us. So they were having this conversation of, no, that's my auntie. No, that's my uncle. No, that's my auntie. That's my uncle. And I said, well, I'm just going to sit here and see what they come up with, because I'm not going to get in this conversation, because it looks like they could figure it out themselves. They came up with Ankle Bo.
Ankle Bo. I heard that.
Ankle Bo is my auntie, and Ankle Bo is my uncle. Now, whichever one you choose to mess with is the one I'm going to defend. And when I told her, she was like, Ankle Bo? I said, yeah. A 9-year-old and a 4-year-old came up with this. It's nothing that these kids, you can hide from these kids. It is nothing. And the world has given them more access to understanding our lifestyle than ever before. The support system that they have for these teenagers is wonderful. I wish we had it back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They actually have support systems and counseling that the parents can go to and understand what their children are going through.
Right.
The children can go through and understand what they're going through. We didn't have that support. At all.
And socially, it's just kind of become a little more, I guess, out there, because even with the TV shows, even on the children networks, you know, when the grandkids come over, like literally we've seen cartoons where you have the male character and he's got on a full dress, he's fully beat, he's in full trans. This is a cartoon.
SpongeBob.
Right, like seriously, I'm telling you, like it's just so out there now. We have a 4-year-old who like kind of would debate with us on Graham. Is Graham a boy? That's a boy. No, it's a girl. My grandson is like, Graham is a girl, and I say no, Graham is a girl. Well, because Graham looks like her father to her and her grandfather to her. So
She want to wrestle.
she still, even though she gets the concept that Graham is a girl, immediately when she sees her, she does exactly what she does.
Punch
with
me
her
in my
first.
stomach.
Boom, punch her dead in her stomach. You know, she goes straight for the women parts. You know, it was just like, okay, so it's just interesting to watch these
because that's
kids,
how the
and they're
baby
so
does us.
smart.
You know, the baby, she'll go over there to Muffin and she's like, mom, 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 mom.
But with you?
But with me, it's like,
Right.
little girl.
Right.
You done broke 2 pair of glasses. Your mama glasses okay over there. Wow. You know, but yeah, they look at you as that rough, you know, that rough parent, that rough grandparent.
Yeah.
They'll go Paw. No.
Right.
Paw is Mama, honey.
Okay.
You're home.
I had
You
a
know?
friend. I had a friend whose kids didn't know what to call me either, and they got together and they grew up calling me Aunt Uncle Chester. Aunt Uncle Chester. Aunt Uncle Chester. And I'm like, that's a long name. Y'all don't want to cut that down?
Right.
That is long.
Aunt Uncle Chester.
My niece, I call my sister, and I'm always listening to either Beyonce or something. So my little niece, she loves Beyonce and she dances. So she's like, Uncle Ishmael's always listening to Beyonce. So one day my sister called me and she was like, oh my God, you gonna laugh. I was like, what? She was like, your niece is in there calling you. She was like, I want to talk to my Uncle Auntie. Where's my Uncle Auntie at? I'm just like, Uncle Auntie? Where'd you find that at? But I thought that was cute because it's just like, I'm not gonna be myself.
Right.
I mean, yes, I have 8 nephews and nieces. I can care less how they look at me.
Yeah.
They respect me, and that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
that's all that
They
matters.
love me, and they show
That's
that.
all that matters.
Right.
They probably know I'm gay. They probably don't know.
Right.
Either way, it doesn't matter because their true actions is what matters to me.
Right.
Right.
And they don't look at me different. They don't stick their nose up.
Right.
My oldest nephew is 18. His friends.
They respect you.
Yeah, like everybody
bottom line.
respect me no
That's
matter
good.
what. No matter what the situation is. I can walk in with, I love tight pants, okay? All my pants are gonna be squeezing me.
Right, I
So
heard
they be
that.
looking like, why your uncle got some? But he be like, man, that's my uncle.
Yeah.
He likes it.
Yeah.
And then they be like, okay, well, we like it too.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never had I've only had one incident with my cousin, and I pushed her little ass. She was like, you're gonna be gay when you grow up. I'm like, this little 6-year-old telling me this. I was probably like 12. Man, I pushed her
you
so hard
were.
into the
I'm
bushes.
already gay.
Right.
Told the truth.
Yeah, she was calling me out basically.
Right, right.
In front of
That's what
everybody.
made
Yeah,
it
that's
come out
when
like
it's
this.
embarrassing.
That
Them
pissed me
kids
off.
will put
Kids
you on the
Push
line.
you on the
Yeah.
spot.
They will.
Yeah.
And then that's when your true feelings like, damn, this kid now I gotta pretend like I'm not in front of
Right.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's
But,
because
yeah.
everybody could always see on the outside what you can't see on the inside.
Right,
Yeah.
true that too.
That's
True that too.
always, and everybody's always underneath the looking glass.
True.
I think the coolest thing though is that now there's so much material out there that people are able to kind of educate themselves a little
Right.
more on our community
Right.
and
Where
how
they're
we
good, more
live and
accepting of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
just kind of get a better understanding that I
Right.
mean we're human, we're people like you are. We
Right.
have children, we have families, we want families.
Right.
We're no different. We still bleed. You cut me, my blood is going to look just like yours.
Just
Right.
like yours.
You know, so like you say, you can't judge me by this, you know,
Right.
by my outer appearance or my skin that I'm in. And so the good thing is that there is education out there and people can now have those resources. We didn't have the internet like we did. And so
Right.
now, you know, younger people have the ability to come out to their families and have the tools to do it in a way that is not so detrimental, although there's still suicide, and suicide
yeah.
is still
Yeah.
very
That plays a
high in
big
our
part,
community, and
right.
we do have to do a better job of letting, you know, young people know that it's okay,
Yeah.
that it's okay.
Right, God just made you special
Oh yeah.
so that you can teach everybody to love everybody.
That's
Right.
it.
You know,
And
it's so
then-
funny.
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And then, you know, sometimes I will say, even like if someone is coming out and all families not accepting, like me, I had a headbutt with my grandmother, but now, like, it took some time, but she loves Danielle just like anybody else, you know, and my whole family loves her. So I think sometimes it's a hard pill for your family
Yes.
member to swallow,
Yes.
you know, and then once they kind of like get to know, like, okay, well, she's not really that bad, and Angie, you know, is she still her? You know, she's still the same. She still likes makeup. She's still. I think a part of them thought I was gonna be a stud because I'm very, I'm very
I think
like
that's how parents think.
hardcore
Like, oh,
and
okay,
like
oh,
I
you're
act.
a fairy.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Seriously, 'cause I would act more like rough sometimes.
All women get like that. All women get like that. Sometimes Tracy too hard. I'm like, put your heels back on.
too. This
Right.
one right
So I
here.
think
All
that's
women
what-
get hard
yeah,
like
I think
that.
that's what they get
I have
afraid
never
of.
had
I
an
don't know why.
experience moment
Just the
like
talking,
that.
not the body.
I ain't never had an
Talking.
experience like that.
Yes.
Never.
I had
Never.
I think I
experience.
even said that. I was like, do you think I'm going to go put some jeans and like cut my hair off or something? And I was like, I'm not doing that. I still like makeup. I still like heels. I'm going to get my nails done. You know, I'm still me. But I think that was like maybe their first impression. Like, well, what kind of lesbian is she going to be? You know,
Right, that
it's
is.
like-
Strong women
you
are
know,
intimidating. People
yeah.
just start putting all kind of labels on you.
But now with time, you know, like I said, my whole family is very accepting and loving and very involved in our marriage, our life. And they use us as an example. They're like, your marriage goes, I wish I could find a husband. And I'm like, what? This
Yeah.
little lesbian couple
Yeah,
over here?
the-
You're using us as a couple, you know, like as an example. I never would have thought, you know, in a million years,
Right.
they would
That's
be using me as an
crazy.
example.
Yeah, it's wild.
So-
I get used me and my boyfriend, we get used an example
Yeah.
too. Although we haven't been, like, we've been together for 2 years and 2 good years.
That's good.
But,
That's good.
Maybe.
yeah, people are always like, he's really known in the scene in Houston, so people are like, oh, we want to be just like y'all, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's something. You know, this is my
An
first gay
inspiration.
relationship, and it's amazing. And honestly, I'm glad people look up to that because I mean, I was still confused, and at the same time, he helped me learn myself as well, and when I realized we have two different stories, but they kind of match up,
Right.
that's when I was like, okay, this was
Right.
meant to be.
Right.
And even my family, like growing up, oh, my mom, oh, faggot this, faggot that. But the second that I said, hey, I'm that faggot you're talking
That I
about,
went away.
then my mom don't use no words.
Right.
Now this is what she says, and I think it's so funny. She's like, yeah, it was some alternative people today in front of me.
That's cute.
That's cute. I'll rock with that.
Right, right. That's
But
cute.
like my family, I mean, they're very supportive. That they love me, and like my dad, I never had like a close relationship with my dad, but now it's like I call my dad, hey, what's up, Dad? He loves me. They ask for my boyfriend, how's he doing? And I just like that's something to me that I've always wanted, to be like free in myself, and to hear you actually say, so how is your boyfriend doing?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
how is your spouse or your partner, instead of trying to make me force myself to get a girlfriend,
Right.
have a family, and do all that's gonna make me unhappy.
It's like you're living your best life. You're yourself. You don't have to pretend to be somebody you're not. And that's like the
When
worst
people see
feeling
that-
ever. When
And-
you're like trying to
yes.
force something that you're not. You know, I remember I would get my boyfriends and I'll just be like, oh my God, get away from me. Like, don't kiss me, don't touch me, don't hug me. Give me
Yes.
the keys to your car so I could go meet up with this girl. Like, I hated it. And I was so miserable. And, you know, like, I could tell my mom could tell too. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
I'm good.
Is your boyfriend? I don't want to talk about him. You know, like, leave him out of this, okay?
I used to ditch my girlfriend all the time. I have one of my best friends is lesbian, and I met her in New York. And my ex would be like, oh, let's go to the park and walk. And I'm like, oh, I got a lot of homework. And then I'll call my friend and be like, hey, let's go to the park and walk. It's just like, I don't want to be around her.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like,
It is what it is.
But I definitely feel you on that. I'm like,
it is
oh,
what
I
it
really
is.
don't want to be bothered with you today.
Right.
But
Like, you're just my alibi now. I don't need you
Yeah,
right now.
right.
Leave me alone.
and when I started believing to myself that I am who I am, it got even worse.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, I really want to break up, but I don't know how to do it. And then after graduation, I was like, oh, I definitely have to break up with her because her parents want us to get married, and that's not happening.
Right.
I really didn't have anyone to come out to. My parents died when I was 19, so I really didn't. At that point in time, I was grown. I can make my own decisions. I really don't care what nobody thinks. I'm out here doing my own thing. Mom and Daddy not here. Those are the only two people I really have to answer to. You know, so I really didn't have anybody to come out to. My experiences started maybe when I was 7, 8 years old, from a babysitter. I got a lot of experience with this babysitter over the years.
The
You know?
Okay.
You know, and so
I need to turn for this one.
Right.
I got a lot of experience from the babysitter, and it became a, you know, even when my mom would say, well, I'm going to play bingo tonight, or I'm going to play dominoes somewhere tonight, but can I go over so-and-so house? It had started getting to that point, you know, that was the only babysitter I wanted to go to.
Was it?
You know.
Wait, excuse me. Was it abusive or was it fun? Ooh.
Wait a minute. Well, she was a babysitter, so.
Were you a baby?
No, I was about 7 or 8.
Okay, well, how old was the babysitter?
Well, the babysitter was a teenager.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
Okay.
She was a teenager.
so you
you know.
was. Okay.
It didn't. Maybe it didn't feel abusive, but that's a form of abuse.
Actually, that is a form of abuse.
It is.
So
It
You
is.
see, at that time, I didn't think it was.
Exactly.
And you didn't know, you were
You know,
young.
We're gonna look past it.
Okay. Let's
You
look
liked
past
it.
I grew to like it. I grew to like it, and I began to like, ooh, you know, because it was certain things that we would do that it would stay in my mind. No lie, it would stay in my mind at school. It would stay in my mind at home. You know, doing my homework, it started working on me. You know, and so I was like, no, I started fighting it, and I was like, no. That's not what that is. Like Chester, I grew up in the church. I did everything. I directed the choir. I played the piano. I did everything, you know, at church. So I felt like Chester. If I do this, oh Lord, he gonna strike me down. You know. So I suppressed all of that, but I continually want to go to this babysitter. Well, when I got old enough to not go to the babysitter, of course, 13, 14 years old, and you going to school and you changing clothes for gym, and you know, you got all your friends in there, and you You want to,
Right. Right.
a
True.
lot of that, a lot of that happens. And so I guess me getting older and trying to suppress it, I did just like you. I tried to be with somebody, just to make my family feel like, oh, she got a boyfriend, because I was always the child that when we went school shopping, okay, yeah, you can give me that dress or you can give me that skirt, but I want them Nikes to go with it. And I want them Lottos to go with it. I don't want them sandals. I don't want to wear jellies and Hercules sandals. I don't want to wear all that. You got to give me something tomboyish with this outfit, or I'm not going to wear it. And my mama would just be like, girl, if you could just look right up and down just one time, but I didn't want to. I had a dirt bike. I wanted to jump curbs. My sister had the bike with the basket with the baby in the front. I didn't want all of that. I wanted to jump curbs and put stuff in my wheel and make it loud. And, I was a little boy on the inside, and I just didn't know what to do with him, And so when I got about maybe right after my mom and dad passed, I inherited a lot of money, and I felt like, oh, I can really do what I want to do now. I don't have to hear it from nobody. So when I turned about maybe 21, 22, it was a beautician that, hair
Oh, you're good. You're good.
that I had taken liking to. And I felt like they had taken liking to me. So it was put to me as, come over to the house and let's have, we're going to play cards, we're going to play dominoes. I want to invite you over. Well, when I got over there, that wasn't the case.
Of course.
Okay.
Not the babysitter.
Okay.
Victoria's
Secret. Victoria's Secrets came out to tell all, and so I was like, okay. And in my head, I was like, ooh, I'm finna do it for real this time. So everything that I had on my mind, and everything I had experienced was in me. So when I actually came out, and actually it was like, bam, and so Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs passed out, And so when my family started noticing that, okay, I'm dressing more and more like a boy, more and more like a boy. And so my niece, we were at Thanksgiving dinner, and she says, hey, Ebony, how come you don't get your nails done and wear your makeup and get your hair done anymore? Why you always look like a boy? And my sister, I'll never forget, she's already passed away. But I'm sorry. She looked at my family and she said, Ebony is Ebony. And let Ebony be Ebony.
Aww.
And it was like, I don't have to say nothing. I'm good. It was like that acceptance from her, from anybody else in the family was okay. I didn't care. But from her, my mom used to say, if Esther tell you that the sky is purple, you're going to believe that the sky is purple. Because that's how much I love my big sister. I would go to the end for my big sister. So right before she passed and she said that to the family, I didn't have to tell anybody that I was. I didn't have to. Just as long as she accepted it, I didn't care what nobody else thought.
Right.
And so now I've just been pushing through. I've been doing my own thing. And another person that actually made me feel like it's okay to be you. And she never knew, but growing up, it was okay for me to be me because of her. She felt like she was on her own, but she didn't know what she was doing for me.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I was under Angela, and I was always around Angela, but she didn't understand what she was doing for me. And I want to tell her what she was doing for me. You helped me. You gave me a whole bunch of inspiration, Chester, that you don't understand. I could have just stayed in my box. I could have stayed in the relationships that I was in. I could have continued to get beat. I could have continued all of that. But watching you and seeing you fight through stuff and being and doing what you did, it gave me the strength to be who I am. And I just want to thank you for that, man. I want to thank you for that. I swear I do. I swear I do, man.
Wow.
I had to figure it out though. It wasn't easy.
I know it wasn't easy at all because I was the one that was around people that said, "Oh, that's Chester the gay girl. Oh, that's Chester the bull dyker." You know, and it was like, so that's how I was. But I was the only one that could defend her in that circle.
Right.
And it was a circle of people that I had been around all my life. And sometimes you don't want to lose that friendship.
Right.
You know, but now that I'm older, I'm mad because I should have stood my grounds. You know, because I should have stood my grounds knowing the life that I have now and who I'm actually around now. You know, it's like, man, I should have told you. So what if she is? I am too. But I couldn't do that. We wasn't raised that way.
It wasn't okay.
It wasn't okay to do that. I grew up in the hair shop. Like I told you, I grew up in the hair shop. And, of course, when I got older, my sister had friends. You know, my sister had friends that was gay, you know, that they called all kinds of names, you know. But she loved them. And that's why I loved her. But this one right here, she don't understand. I hope she understands today. You know, that she was a true inspiration. Something that I would never, ever, ever forget in my life. Never.
I had to stand up once I knew I was normal.
Yeah.
Once I knew it wasn't nothing wrong with me, I wanted everybody to see me standing tall.
Right.
It was important for me to get my own company.
Right.
It was important for me to be successful so they could see that just because I'm gay does not mean that I can't be better than you or just like you.
And that's how I feel when I do my shows. I get more compliments on the shows that I post from the clubs, from my family, on Facebook than I would a phone call.
That's right.
From them telling me. I can get 50,000 comments from, "Oh, you cut up. Oh, you did good. Oh, I'm so proud of you." You know, but nobody calls and tell me that. But they'll tell me on Facebook. So, hey, I take that too.
Yeah.
Just as long as you know I'm doing me.
Right.
Right.
And I'm going to continue to do me.
Right.
Yeah.
With or without you.
Right.
Well, can I say this right here? God has made us all different, and I've always learned that, you know, people say, "Oh, your family is your family. Blood is thicker than water." I've learned that blood is not thicker than water.
Right.
And God put people in our life for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
So He put you in her life for a reason.
Right.
Because, as you see, you weren't able to be yourself and express who you were, but she helped you.
Oh, yeah.
And she's helping you still.
Yeah.
And that's what is important. Sometimes.
If you or someone you know is a part of the LGBTQ community and in need of local resources or peer counseling, please dial the LGBTQ National Hotline at 1-888-843-4564. If you or someone you know is a part of the LGBTQ community and are at risk of suicide or have thoughts of suicide, please call the LGBTQ hotline at 1-800-273-8255. On the next episode of Pride Wives of Dallas.
When you're married, you don't do things like that Good to see you, baby.
Sitting there chilling.
Y'all good? Yeah, I've been chilling. You know, doing our thing.
You good? Lame.
Y'all sure?
Oh, shit, look at all that.
It's a different scan from last time.
Oh my gosh, it's getting big.
I know, right? Oh, look at his leg, mommy. I'm about to cry. Like you can see my
If you think you know a thing about me, you might be wasting your time. Cause why you sitting here worried about me? I'm just worried about mine. We can agree to disagree and move on with our lives.
To watch new episodes of Pride Wives of Dallas, subscribe at theonchannel.com or download the On Channel mobile apps.